Ever wonder what it's like to do New York City's biggest museum as a family? Let's find out. This museum is huge. So what I strongly suggest you do is to take a look at the map, look at what's on display before you come, and make some decisions about what you're going to see. Now, we came specifically because we wanted to see the Costume Institute's latest offering off the back of the Met Gala, the Dandyism exhibit. So we're going to start there first, and then we're going to work our way around the museum from there, making some suggestions on what we think are family friendly, what might be more interesting for kids to see. The thing to note about the museum is that if you check the website, they do have docent-led tours, so you can get a free tour of the museum, and it focuses on different things depending on exactly what is available that day. As you enter on Fifth Avenue, to your left is the general admission. I will tell you it's $30 for adults, $22 for seniors 65 and over. Students are 17, minors are free. You can also check to see if you are eligible for a corporate discount. That's what I'm going to do today, which will get me and Paul in for free, and the little guy is free because he's 12 and under. Now, as you're traversing from gallery to gallery, you will find exhibits along your way. If you have the time, you should stop and check them out. The main reason for our visit today is to see this exhibit. It's in the Iris and Gerald Cantor Exhibition Hall here through October 26th, and we're here to see Superfine, Tailoring Black Style. Inside of the exhibit, they have the gift shop for the exhibition, and you will find books here, you will find candles, you'll find all sorts of, Anne Lowe. She designed Jackie O's wedding dress, if you didn't know. All about black designers. And then there's Superfine Tailoring Style. It goes into the exhibit itself. And then you have books on various topics. So the exhibit is looking to take us all the way back to early colonialism to show how people dressed and how it mattered how you dressed. And they're starting back here with a livery coat from 1840. Now the next area that the exhibit focuses on is distinction and the use of military appliques, emblems, etc. in fashion. And you can see that in all of the pieces, for the most part, that are on the high display here, and how they use military embellishments in the fashion. And it's interesting here how they have French pantaloons from 1805. These are white leather, and the boots that go with them, they're black leather from the early 20th century, and they juxtapose that against this outfit right up top, how you see the similarities between the two, the white pantaloons, the boots, and then you get a very militaristic look in the jacket and the sweater. Now the fourth area, this is called disguise, and this talks about how the way you dress can disguise or reveal, especially if you're trying to negotiate the line between being subjugated and being free. Images like this were passed out during abolitionist times to help the abolitionist cause by talking about how tattered and worn this man's clothes were as he escaped from slavery, and how these are the conditions that an enslaved person lives in. They don't even have a decent suit of clothing. And the next area of the exhibit is called Freedom. So this area explores the anxieties about Black social mobility as we came out of the Civil War, and how you needed to present yourself to prepare successful and respectable and, as always, not threatening. Look at the tailoring on this waistcoat. This waistcoat is from 1825. It's navy wool broadcloth, and it's just exquisite. That's the word I've been looking for since I walked into this room. Exquisite. A lot of these pieces are simply exquisite. This outfit here in the case was worn by Frederick Douglass. And as I look at this, he was a bigger man than I thought he was. When I look at that picture of him, which is like the image you see of him most frequently, I didn't realize that he, as they say, was a barrel-chested man, quite broad. And aren't we cutting quite the fine figure over here? Oh my goodness, lovely. The suit here is from 1986. And this ensemble is also from the 1980s. This is from 1980, excuse me. Okay, the next section of the exhibit is called Champion. So these are looking towards Black men who have found success in athletics. So this shows a Jet cover. Jet, in case you don't know, Jet and Ebony were the magazines of the 70s, the 60s, the 50s for Black Americans. And you have Walt Frazier on the cover there, and then you have some of his items in the case. You have the hat. Here is Walt Frazier's. And then you have a pair of Clyde's Pumas. And then over here you have a section of the exhibit called Cool. And this is all about the latter half of the 20th century, the Black designers that took over this space, and what it means to be cool. Let's look at his pants. Because it's cool. It's cool. Now, this section of the exhibit is called Juke. So as you can see here, you're looking at the dandies of dandies. These are the well-dressed, I'm going out in my best for the evening dress. This is where you start to come into Cab Calloway, the Nicholas brothers. Oh, look at that Josephine there. Oh my gosh, love her. And here's a broader look at Juke and some of the costume and the wares of that era. So now these zoot suits are from the 40s, so these are absolutely authentic. Now this part of the exhibit is called Cosmopolitanism. And what you see as you travel the world and the different types of dandyism. Oh, and we have Andre Talley's Louis Vuitton luggage. Oh my goodness, I didn't realize that was his luggage. Let me take a closer look. This was one of his outfits, or one of his pieces, is better said. And this section of the exhibit, given the tone of the colors and the fabrics, is called Heritage. It speaks to our heritage. And of course, being cosmopolitan means that you travel. And when you travel, you get all dressed up. This part of the exhibit is called Beauty. And this is all about Black being beautiful and the beauty of the clothing and the men who wear them. And the epitome of this style of dress would be the one, the only, the most regal, Prince. And this is actually one of his shirts. But look at the cufflinks over here in Prince's shirt. Now this whole exhibit is about power to the people and the Black Power movement of the 1970s and how that still comes through in the dress. These outfits again are contemporary. They are from 2023, so these are not from the 1970s. But you do have, in the case to my left, a beret, a brown and wool felt edged with black vinyl and embroidered in gold, the Black Power fist and motif. And you have the ever-present pick. And we have gone into the Impressionist gallery. We are nudging closer to one of my favorite pieces by Claude Monet, and that would be the Haystacks. So I was just saying to the little guy, can you tell the difference between the artist by the strokes of the brush? And this is Van Gogh, and this is a broader stroke versus a Monet, right? Oh, Van Gogh again, yes, that's right. And here you have a few pieces by Gauguin right next to Van Gogh. I will say that if Impressionism is your thing, you must visit the Met because and of course you have Van Gogh's self-portrait here. Okay, we are stopping for a bite to eat at the American Wing Café. Basic sandwiches and salads. Just to give you a little look at what we got a fruit salad here, a Sprite, we got some chips, we have some sandwiches, we got a turkey green goddess, and he has a ham brie, and it came on a pretzel roll. There's a huge cookie as large as my head, and then all of this is very, very expensive, my friends. It's $66.96, and that's without him having a full meal. So just keep that in mind. Before we go wandering out about in the galleries again, wanted to just give you my thoughts on lunch. My turkey sandwich was really good. Paul liked his sandwich as well. The problem with the food is that it was just so expensive. $66 for 2 sandwiches, a fruit salad, a cookie, a bag of chips, and 3 sodas. That was a lot. A lot. And this is why we thought this gallery would be good for your little ones. You have all of this armor. Very knightly indeed. Oh yeah, so he's saying it looks like they can barely see out of these things, and I would say that looks accurate. It doesn't look like there's really a peripheral view out of there, but maybe those top left, right holes is how you got to see out of either side. These pieces I'm looking at some of them are dating back to the 1500s. So when you consider how old they are, the condition that they're in is very good. And look at all of the beautiful artwork on the inside of the shields. And so you see that this one is set up for jousting. It looks like he's ready to joust. And look at that. How could you see out of that? I know. You'd have to squint out of there. Yeah, these are tournament pieces. And look at this. And if I remember correctly from what I've read in the past, these pieces are very, very heavy. It's a wonder that they were able to do anything in them. It's a big guy. Yeah, look at all of the detail on it, though. I'm sure... Is that mer people? Really very interesting. And look even down on the boots, if you will. And this one is from the 1500s as well. Let's get a look at some of the other armor. It does look like this one has been made for a child. It's the armor of infant Louis, Prince of Asturias. And this goes back to 1712. How old must he have been? I'm going to say 7-ish. 6, 7? Maybe even 5. Really, really tiny. Are you sizing yourself for the armor there? No. So this is a complete set. Look at the horse. For the horse.
That's the saddle.
And for the knight himself would have been on here.
Would have sat on that.
Yep. Can you imagine getting up on a horse with all of this on? I can't even imagine. And then once you see this, you can never unsee it. It's one of the most interesting exhibits I find here, in that it shows you what it would have looked like with a horse decked out in full armor and ready to go, along with the knights on top of the horses all decked out in full armor. And interestingly enough, again, you see how the armor on the knight matches the armor on the horse. Okay, the saddle itself weighs 65 pounds on this one.
I don't know how this is supposed to that.
And there's even chain link armor under here for the horse. So the little guy just pointed out hearts in the stirrup. I'm sure that has a very interesting story behind it. I found a period room. My little guy is mortified, but I found a period room. It is a French period room for nobility, and quite the room. I love the blue silks on the chairs. I love the gilding in the room. The low lighting feels like it's about to be dark out. Like you would be totally dependent on sunlight in a room like this. Love the period rooms. So this was not on the bingo card for today, but it was on our way to and from our next places. So I wanted to pop in here and just show you, again, some of my favorite things. Just when I thought he wasn't interested, he's leading the way now. Oh, this is a hotel room? Same hotel as the one next door? Are we still in Paris?
Yeah.
And we are now in Vienna, the little guy tells me. And is this a private residence or a hotel?
Rooms. I think it's a hotel room again.
Another hotel. All right, I love this Egyptian gallery in particular. Stay with me for the big reveal if you haven't seen it before. All right.
This is nice.
It's not a maze, but it does give you the feel of what it's like to go through a pyramid. Spots on the glass, it tells you a little bit about the hieroglyphs that you're looking at. And similar to the Brooklyn Museum, you will find an extensive collection of sarcophagi and mummies here as well. In this space, you see a series of sarcophagi. Yes, mummies, and the casings that they would have come out of. You see a series of canopic jars, and again, as I said at the Brooklyn, just the beauty of the artwork inside of the sarcophagus and the vibrancy and the fact that these are thousands of years old and you can still see the vibrancy and the colors. And just to show you how this would have taken place, there were multiple layers that the mummy was placed into in their sarcophagus. All right, are we ready? Are we ready? Here's the big reveal. And isn't that lovely? This is set up to look like the temple of Dendur. And out of these windows over here, you also get a look at Central Park over there. We're surrounded by Central Park now at this point. And this is also always a nice place. I won't call it quiet, but it's quieter than some of the rest of the museum. And look at the graffiti. Leonardo 1820. And there's more graffiti over here. 1872. And here is the history of the Temple of Dendur. It was constructed in about 10 BC, and the temple in the 6th century was consecrated as a Christian church. Then it became a popular destination for explorers, and then the temple blocks in 1968 were created and shipped by boat to New York City. In 1967, President Lyndon Johnson gave the temple to the Met. Egypt gave the temple to the United States in recognition of the American contributions to the rescue campaign. And then in 74 to 78, this gallery was constructed around it. We hope that you have enjoyed this trip to the Metropolitan Museum of Art with us. Please remember to check out our New York City series so that when you're visiting New York, you have ideas of what to do in and around the city. Be sure to check out our Brooklyn Museum tour. Let us know in the comments below what your favorite thing was that we experienced today. And if we come back anytime soon, what galleries would you like us to check out for you? Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like, share, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so that you know when the next adventure begins. And no matter where your adventures take you, we hope that you enjoy the journey. Bye now.
Still with us? Here's one artist we couldn't leave without seeing. While the Sargent in Paris exhibit closed over the summer, many of the works from that show are still on display at the Met. Let's spend a moment with the most iconic. John Singer Sargent's Madame X. Once considered scandalous, it's now one of the museum's most celebrated portraits.
So let's just spend a moment talking about this particular piece. It's titled Madame X. It came with a bunch of controversy, and Sargent himself sold it to the Met in 1916 or so and declared it the best piece of work he had ever done. So interesting to see, number one, that Sargent sold the work to the Met himself, and that this piece, at the time it was created, caused quite a stir because the subject in the piece is actually American-born to French parents. She went back to Paris, married a French man, and they didn't exactly love her in Paris because she was not born there. And she was quite a controversial figure, and when he presented this piece in the salon, it stirred up quite the kerfluffle. But he kept it in the salon, and here it is now, Madame X. And what was controversial about it is the fact that she has bare shoulders, and he originally did this piece with her shoulder strap down on her right shoulder. And when he decided to keep the piece in the salon, she appeared in society dressed very similar to this. Gotta love it. And so it's said that she became his favorite and most studied subject. These are all pencil drawings of her in various poses, even though he did decide in the end to draw her standing up. He has more studies of her than he does of any of his other models. And I do apologize for butchering her name in advance, but Virginie Amélie Avignon Gorcourt. And she was Madame X.